We can't handle movie releases of this magnitude!
How you get so big that you hold of this kind?
Okay, I'm sorry, that was terrible. I'll never do that again. So now with the newly announced film series by the producers of Game of Thrones, and the film series by Rian Johnson, and the greenlit live-action TV show, along with the rumored whole bunch of other live-action TV shows, and the Kenobi movie that, while not officially greenlit, is highly likely to happen, plus all the books, and the comics, and presumably eventually games, it's led a lot of people to wonder, is this too much Star Wars? This is a question that has divided fans. For many, they've been unimpressed with the new films so far. For others, while they have liked what they've seen so far, they're just vaguely concerned about things that haven't happened yet. Honestly, this is a difficult question for me to get my mind around. With all of the books and comics I've read, and the games I've played, and the TV shows I've watched, the concept of too much Star Wars is absolutely lost on me. But I also understand that I'm sitting here with a YouTube channel all about Star Wars, and I read it all of the time, and I spend money on it instead of my student loans and all of this other stuff. I get it, I'm not normal, so I'm gonna try to meet you where you are, I guess. I can understand the Star Wars as an event mentality. I can understand that if there's more movie premieres, it might make each one feel less and less special. But I've also been watching the Clone Wars since 2008, and I've had those Star Wars events once a week. And the mere months I had to wait in between seasons was just brutal. I guess I can understand that mentality, but if you're operating under only the movies count, you're leaving some events out for yourself already. And please don't think I mean that in a gatekeeping sort of way. There are so many fandoms out there, there are so many franchises that I've never had time to try because I put so much time into Star Wars. Conveniently enough, I've never tried Game of Thrones, and it's not a slam on Game of Thrones. I just haven't had time, in the same way a lot of you may not have had time to watch every episode of the Clone Wars, and that's fine. Spend your time on what's important to you, and it's okay if every aspect of Star Wars isn't important to you, and only the films are important to you. But I'm just trying to articulate that there is more going on already. Star Wars has been, since the 90s, constantly pumping out new material, and this isn't a new phenomenon, even if bringing it to the big screen is a new thing. I guess I'm just trying to say that the notion that only film premieres count as Star Wars events is really only true from a certain point of view. I just don't see us moving towards the Marvel model of releasing multiple films in a year. Yeah, they've announced a whole bunch of movies, but it's not like they're all going to come out by 2020. I think we're going to keep to the one film a year standard. And I know a lot of people have been tossing around the idea of they want quality over quantity, but remember, this isn't JJ hopping from set to set in one of his time machines. The notion that we can only have quantity of Star Wars material or quality of Star Wars material is a false binary. We have different directors, different writers, different producers, different crews working on this movie. No one is getting overworked. No one is getting overtaxed. And if my bookshelf says anything, there is plenty of room for plenty of different stories in the Star Wars universe. The material isn't getting overtaxed. I don't want to dismiss anyone's feelings about this outright, because Star Wars is something so deep and so personal to so many of us that it matters a lot. But it's really hard for me not to reject the notion of quality over quantity out of hand, because it's not that you can only have one or the other. I would really encourage you not to fall into the mental trap of thinking that it is. And I understand that there's a lot of people who are afraid of the Marvel syndrome, but I just think it's weird that Star Wars being compared to a franchise that is continually making successful movies, that are continuing to break box office records, and are continuing to juggle simultaneous projects on different mediums as a bad thing. So, if you mean Star Wars is like Marvel as a bad thing because you don't like what the MCU is doing, I mean, that's fine. It's a legitimate concern because it might turn into a thing you don't like. But that doesn't make it bad or wrong, it just makes it not for you. And it's okay if this Star Wars isn't for you, because the Star Wars that was for you and the Star Wars that you love isn't going anywhere. And if ultimately you would rather there isn't new Star Wars, then you don't have to see the new Star Wars. Which leads us back to the title of this video. Is there such a thing as too much Star Wars? Well, yes, there is such a thing as too much Star Wars. How much is too much Star Wars? Only you can answer that. And only you can answer that for yourself. If more Star Wars movies is too much for you, don't go see them. And if you're about to tell me that that's not fair, because if you don't see the new movies, you're going to be missing out on Star Wars, or there's going to be some part of Star Wars you don't get, man, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Because there's already Star Wars you miss out on. I guarantee you haven't read every book or every comic. Because you want to know what? I haven't read every book or every comic, and I can't get enough of Star Wars. Many fans already willfully choose to believe that some Star Wars isn't as important as other Star Wars. It's okay. It's impossible to consume every part of Star Wars. I will never read every page of the art of The Last Jedi, or every annotation in the visual dictionary. I don't think that is as important as reading every new novel. That's okay. But if you're about to tell me that there's a difference between seeing Star Wars a movie and reading Star Wars a book, well...
No different. Only different in your mind.
You define that for yourself. So just don't put the pressure on yourself because you're the only one that's doing it. Now, I don't want to rag on the naysayers more than anyone else because it isn't all the naysayers. I've been getting really sick of what's been going on online lately. The people who either can't let go of the fact that they didn't like The Last Jedi and they're just mad that other people did, but I also can't stand the people who loved The Last Jedi and are just angry at anyone who didn't. It's okay. Did you like The Last Jedi? Great. Who cares if someone didn't like The Last Jedi? It's fine. You don't need them to like it in order for you to like it. So just calm down about it. And if you hated The Last Jedi so much that if someone tweets something positive about it, you have to jump on it and yell at them, get a hobby that isn't Twitter. We collectively need to take the advice of Kylo Ren. We're all still hanging on, and we need to let go. We need to stop hanging our enjoyment on whether or not other people enjoyed it as much as we did, or we need to stop forcing ourselves to get emotionally invested in a thing that's just making us miserable. And it's sad when it's something that you love that you now don't like anymore, but then why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you even watching this video if you're just sick of the new Star Wars? You'll be so much happier if you just stop watching right now and go on with your life. So, for those of you who didn't just click away, here's my challenge to you. Engage with each other openly and honestly. Never to demean someone, never to make a fan feel bad for what their relationship with Star Wars is. No matter what movies they loved or didn't love, or you love or didn't love, it's okay. I mean, guys, I've been a prequel apologist since the prequels came out. I understand what it's like to like movies that everyone hates. It's okay if people didn't like The Last Jedi. Life is going to go on. So with that, yeah, if you loved The Last Jedi, high five. I'm right there with you. If you didn't, that's fine. To each his own. But if you come to me in Twitter and you start telling me that I have to like what you like or have to hate what you hate, I'm gonna just start a GIF war with you, because to be honest, GIF wars are a lot of fun. And at the end of the day, if you're doing Star Wars and you're not having fun, then you're doing Star Wars wrong. I'm only doing all of this to help myself enjoy Star Wars more and help all of you enjoy Star Wars more. So with that, keep in mind what I say at the end of all my videos. Keep it real and fly casual.
Now cooking can be fun.